The Spotlight. Factual and timely.
All right, you're still with us. Thank you so much, because you are just in time for that particular discussion that we are supposed to be having tonight here on the Spotlight. What are we talking about? Well, tonight we're talking about elections, manifestos, and coalitions, and also just to try and understand what is in these manifestos and whether they speak to you as a Kenyan. What exactly do you identify with? Well, Raila Odinga released his manifesto, I believe, on July of this month. That is on 2nd of July, then 2nd of June, sorry, last month. Then William Ruto did that on 30th of June. So did George Wajakoya, and today David Mwaure just released his manifesto, launched his manifesto. We want to look into those manifestos and understand which one exactly speaks to you as a Kenyan. Do you identify with any? Now, my guests in studio tonight are from Bunge la Mwananchi, and I want them to introduce themselves because I believe I'll not be doing justice if I did that introduction. Thank you. Let's start from there. Nicholas.
My name is Nicholas Kimanzi. I'm the spokesman, Bunge la Mwananchi.
Okay, thank you. You're no longer a guest here, you're a resident.
Yes, of course, your man, Omondi Okongo. Actually, I'm now Honorable. Honorable Omondi Okongo. Coordinator Bunge la Mwananchi.
Coordinator Bunge la Mwananchi.
And also a candidate in Dagoretti South as a member of parliament.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for the invitation. My name is Stephen Mutoka. I'm a member at Bunge la Mwananchi, and I also do strategic communications. Okay.
Now, thank you, gentlemen. Let's start from just trying to make sense of what has been happening in the past few days with what has been circulating. Before we get into the manifestos themselves, just make sense of the politics of the day. And that starts with the clip that has been circulating online with Deputy President William Ruto is her saying that he almost, got angry with President Uhuru Kenyatta and after the nullification of the election in 2017, and probably now try to paint a picture of what that means for the executive and exactly how their relationship has been ever since. Let me start with you. What do you make of that?
Well, first, the deputy president has not refuted claims that he said such a words or the clip. He has not said the clip is not false. So that says a lot. But
no, today he said, when he was in Meru, he said he didn't directly say that those are his words, but he said wanasema nililazimisha Uhuru, ana hata kama nilimlazimisha si kufanya makosa.
Exactly, and that says it all. When you look at that, it shows that he was very ambitious and he wanted for them to get the presidency together with Uhuru, because they had already fought a lot, and even after nullification by the Supreme Court, it means that he was ready still and willing to work hard. But on the other hand, when you look at Azimio, they are using it for their own benefit, and it can be disadvantage for William Ruto, because not all people will take that positive. Others will say that this man who want to become president, and now look here, he was almost slapping president.
Okay.
How about
but somebody will say the work that because this is the argument he's putting, the work that they did together in terms of getting there, you cannot just get in the middle of this particular race and say now just because you have a setback you're going to be giving up and go back and retire when it comes to matters politics. What do you make of that?
Brian, I find it more interesting because I'm just imagining a deputy can lose control for the national, almost slapping the president. Okay. And he want to be the leader, because just imagining you can slap the president, to me it's not making sense. I prefer my fellow Kenyans who are listening or watching us right now, let's have the, just see the character of the leaders that we are going to elect this coming election. Because the stage of the president, the deputy president, William Samoei Ruto, President Uhuru Kenyatta is a symbol of national unity. Okay. Just trying or imagining you can slap a symbol of national unity. Okay. To me, I only my paper, because
the thing is, they worked together at that particular moment. So probably because we understand from their relationship, they were brothers and sisters.
There was a reason why the president was reluctant to accept it, because according to the conversation that is there, it's like the DP was forcing the president through words, and the guy was not, up to the task. So that's why he wanted to use another force, maybe like slapping or pushing him. But we don't know what could have happened if he could have slapped the president. So to me, Ruto should bring the temperature down. He should, no, he's not a leader to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you make of that, Nicholas?
I think what you're saying is just politics of deceit. Because in life, as a person, you need someone who can slap you when actually your vision is blood. I wish the deputy president slapped the president, because when push comes to shove, you need someone to push you so that you realize your dreams. So deputy president was very much in...
You say he was in order to even think about it.
Yes, he was in order, because some things, you cannot go on looking for votes. And just by a mere nullification, and then the Chief Justice says, go back. And then now that's the time you want to give up. What about all the work that you put in? You want that to go to waste? You know, power is not given. Power is taken. You take power. So when people relax, you need someone to push you. Sometimes you don't believe in yourselves.
Okay.
But you need someone to tell you, no, you can do it. You can do it. I think that was the goal of the deputy president.
Okay, probably if whatever we have online is anything to go by, what if Uhuru maybe had some legitimate reasons as to why he wanted to stay back and, you know, just don't go through with the presidency again with the repeat election? Because if he was confident that he was going to win again, why would he stop himself? So.
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to also to remind him, Brian, if there is in our constitution, when president goes wrong, it's allowed for you to slap him or be a way to suggest that you can slap him. Okay. Because according to him, he's saying, in fact, it's for that idea that the deputy president could have just slapped the president, which to me, there's a reason why, because president is a symbol of national unity, the way I said, and he carries 40 million people behind him. So just slapping as a part of 40 million, we could have been a mess.
Okay, let's look at it and how that now paints the country in terms of us, the common people, us, the citizens of Kenya. When we look at that conversation and what kind of relationship these two have been having, and now that it is displayed in the, you know, before our very own eyes, what exactly does that mean for us, and how should we be looking at it?
Well, it came as a shock to some Kenyans. Not most people were privy to this kind of information. So Kenyans are digesting this information, and we don't know. It may work for the benefit of Azimio, because it will look like someone who has that kind of anger and he want to become president. It may be very hurtful. But still, Ruto is smart. He can find a way to navigate the way and defend himself. Let's say it's an open check, which can work towards any other side.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, but you can't be smart by just slapping, according to the way my brother is trying to put
it goes with what I want to ask, because was it in order for him to actually do that, tell that to the Kikuyu elders that he almost did that? Was it a proper thing to discuss that with Nino?
No. That is not fair at all. I wish the deputy president could just hold on his horses, because I know he's under pressure, because the game is on iron hot. That's why he's trying to be petty right now. And you can even ask my friend when we are coming, he told me even with them, they're also surprised if the deputy president can also imagine he can slap the president. But he apologized.
All right.
Yeah, he apologized. He went on our way coming. But let's wait.
Now, let me come to you, Nicholas. As somebody who is, you know, from the common 190's perspective, when we see this kind of drama happening at the executive top of government, level of government rather, what does that speak to us? How do we then now picture our government?
I'll have my right to reply because he mentioned me. I think we did not, we have not discussed that. I have not, whatever he said, let him await on my burial. He can speak for me so that we make things clear. Now, it is not very good when actually the top two leaders in Kenya, you know, exchange in public. But you see, this is politics, okay? It is politics, and this is high-octane one. We are nearing election. It is just 35 days. So the heat is going to increase. In fact, we're going to see more of this. What I do not understand is why should some people feel like it is them that must behave in a certain way, while others should not behave in a certain way.
Okay.
Has the president been a symbol of unity? Even the way he speaks. You can see anger in Uhuru Kenyatta. You can see, I mean, how do you stand and you're speaking to the people and you know Kenyans are watching you,
okay,
and then you want to appear like you are angry. You know, force respects force.
Okay.
So when you throw jabs at the DP has a right to reply.
Okay. Now,
for a pound.
Okay.
Yes.
That takes me to something, because just the other day during the Ushirika celebrations, when we were marking 100 years of Ushirika Day celebrations, they also, president and deputy president, it also got to, you know, play out in public. And this is, we know their relationship has not been okay for quite a while. They've not been in good terms. But now the public display of that particular relationship, as Kenyans, do we deserve that, to see that from the executive?
You know, I totally agree with the president, because the way my brother is also saying, the president is pushing the DP too much. But the side of the president is more sober, and he can say in words, but he has never imagined like slapping his deputy. For this Ushirika thing, whatever is happening, President Uhuru Kenyatta is really telling Kenyan, no, Ruto is trying to behave a way to suggest that he's new in Jerusalem. But Uhuru is telling Kenya, this guy, we have been with him in Jerusalem. He tried to say, to make President look like he was not even there before. He has good idea, and they were with them in Jerusalem. So to me, President is being honest. It's only that the deputy is trying to outshine the master, but that is a very dangerous game. So to me, I can also advise the president. The president. Let's just wait for him. Okay. The Kenya are going to decide maybe 35 days ahead of us. Yeah. Okay. So we'll know the reality.
All right. Well, I also would like to say that presidency is a very honorable office, which is composed of a president, a deputy president, among other top executives. And I think it should be treated with the dignity it deserves, because more than 7 million Kenyans trusted them and voted for them so that they can deliver. Okay. I believe that they should conduct themselves in an honorable way. But now we are witnessing this, and we have no something else to do. Okay. But I believe,
so you say it is very disappointing that we get to see that,
and I believe in the future we'll have to revisit the constitution and try to find a way. If deputy president and the president are not in order, or they are not working in harmony, what can we do? Because we can't just continue facing this kind of drama, and these are leaders. We are entrusting them to do work for us. Kenyans, we are starving. There are a lot of corruption. What do we do?
Okay. Now, I want us to get into the manifesto part of it, because now something else that we have to talk about, the manifestos. We have launched the manifesto. Different political, not different, but the 4 presidential candidates have launched their manifestos. Raila Odinga was the first one, followed by Deputy President and Rules Party presidential candidate George Wajakoya, and now Agano Party has also launched his manifesto today. When you look at these manifestos, let me start with you. No, let me start with Nicholas. Nicholas, which manifesto stands out for you as a Kenyan?
Obviously, because I'm allowed to be biased, it is the Kenya Kwanza manifesto.
The Kenya Kwanza manifesto?
Yes.
Why is it the most preferable to you?
For a long time, I have not read a manifesto so detailed. You know, the what, the how, the when were answered for me. And I'm still reading it because it's expansive, it's extensive, it's very well detailed. Now, I have read the Azimio manifesto. I have read the Wajakoya's manifesto. In fact, Wajakoya's is not a manifesto. It is just
no, to him it is a manifesto, and to his supporters it is a manifesto.
A manifesto that is a 2-pager. You cannot have 10 bullets points and you call it a manifesto. No, even the people that were doing so, I think this is just an abuse of our intelligence. I think the guy is just taking us for a ride.
What if, according to him, if he solves those 10 points that you're talking about, when maybe he would have solved so many things that are affecting this country?
Yeah, it's true. That is his mind, and it's right.
Okay.
But you see, ignorance is not a right.
Okay.
Guaranteed in the Constitution.
Let me come to you. Which one do you feel speaks to you as a Kenyan with all these manifestos? After looking at all of them and then presenting it to you, which one do you say is a little bit touching on you?
Me, the manifesto of our Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is convincing to the public, and it's also appealing to the public. Okay. Then followed by the Jakoya manifesto that is in public domain and is so famous and is trending. The one I found weird because it's more of a Tom and Jerry game of that of Kenya Kwanza, because it's not practical. Because even if you see the manifesto of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, there's a manifesto 1, they touch on agriculture, job creation, the health, Baba care. You see, it's promising, and those are the aspect or the pillar that is affecting our country. The agriculture, how are we going to get more produce so that to support the food production in our country? How do we create job? The collapse industry, like the Kikomi, all those aspects were put together. But my brother is also trying to demonize the Jakoya, the number 2 manifesto. The Jakoya manifesto is number 2 to me, because Jakoya manifesto is saying it's a 2-pager thing. To me, Jakoya is most learned compared to them. And in this world, we are living in a short period. As in, we shorten things. It's not like having the book page. They have a booklet, a magazine.
So you feel like too much information sometimes it's not going to be acted upon.
Yes. It's too difficult for Mama Boga to understand it the way they are saying.
But that manifesto touches on Mama Boga. That is their selling point agenda, and that is their selling point rather, and just focusing, because they said they're focusing on Mama Boga. Let me come to you, Mwendwa. Which one do you feel speaks to you? Well,
I believe that Wajakoya manifesto stands out. That is the manifesto which is inspiring confidence to the youth, the young and vibrant. I can tell you.
It is a manifesto that also says that it's going to be killing people who are corrupt.
Well, that law has been applied elsewhere, like in China. We know what normally happens. But we also need to be lenient to the corrupt in a way, but because killing them is not solution. There is a way we can handle them or handle the case. Right, so but what Wajakoya is proposing is opening Kenya for a debate, for a certain debate, which we need to talk. I can tell you, we are going to, after election, we are going to have only one president. But there are some debates we can talk about and get a solution. There are people who are normally they are our leaders. They won't occupy the office, but they bring a debate on an agenda which we can debate, talk, and get a solution. Because corruption is a dangerous thing in this country. It's the thing which has killed us. And even the President Uhuru has admitted that we lose 200 billion each and every day. That is a lot.
So for you, it's Wajakoya really stands out in terms of his manifesto.
Every Kenyan, every average Kenyan knows what Wajakoya stands for. Okay, what I know, it has his own shortcomings, like the issue of legalizing weed. Because I think he could have done more, like elaborating and saying that we are producing, we will be doing farming for marijuana, purposely for medicinal value, and it only be done by government institutions, not by people. We have a huge chunk of land which is not occupied and is lying empty. It's something which is practical, but we need some law and guidance to do it. It's better for him because he has something where we can get the money. And the others are saying us pumping a lot of millions of money, allocating, we'll get here, we'll do what, but where will be the source of the money?
Good. And I think that point on how exactly you are going to be legalizing marijuana is something that a lot of people did not get, because when he said he was going to legalize, it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody is going to be smoking and doing that, but for medicinal purposes and also export so that we can pay the debt. That's according to him. Let me come to you. Your manifesto, the one that you support, has been argued, and people are arguing that you have not touched on corruption mostly. if you want to achieve all these things that you're promising Kenyans, pump 50 billion into the economy, but the issue of corruption, which has been addressed by these other presidential candidates, has not been addressed in your manifesto. What do you say to that?
Mwai, unless people do not or have a challenge with the language, I think Kenya Kwanza Manifesto has addressed largely the issue of corruption. Okay. When we say that we are going to form a quasi-judicial commission that looks into the state capture, the conflict of interest, because conflict of interest are things that bring corruption. Yeah. Now, this commission will be headed by a former retired judge or something like that, and will have its recommendations. Now, if that is not fighting corruption, then I do not know how corruption should be fought, because now immediately
it will have giving recommendation is one thing, but acting on them, then you require some institutions that could actually have these corrupt individuals.
Exactly,
and probably in the same government. So what happens then?
We've spoken to the fight against corruption, because when the deputy president says that on day one in my office, I'll free the DCI to work independently. The manifesto of Kenya Kwanza speaks to operationalizing the judicial fund. Now, what do you do when the judicial fund is operationalized? You have now a judicial that is independent, that does not take orders from the executive, that now can execute their mandate independently. Now, that is fighting corruption. Okay. I do not know any other. I mean, there is no better fight against corruption. Okay. And part of doing that is when you, because we've seen a fight on corruption that is weaponized towards your opponent. You politicize fight of corruption, then you lose the fight. Because I do not agree with Okongo, then I send the DCI and tell him that I have some files that actually I'm going to, to take you to court. Now, that is politicizing and weaponizing the fight on corruption.
The fight on corruption.
Yes.
All right, Okongo, what do you have to say to that? But I believe a lot of governments that we've had to experience actually do that, and there's no guarantee that any other government that comes after this, the Jubilee government, is going to be any different. But let me come to you.
Nicholas is taking us into circle. Actually, I don't know, this may be a bad language for them, to say, but, everybody in Kenya knows that the deputy president is corrupt. I don't know whether it's a perception, but we have the institution. It's alleged. And, as the Azimio Manifesto, they were saying, because I read it, they were saying we are going to, to give full support to, this institution. We are going to empower these institutions so that they make sure they fight this corruption. For example, just recently the president launched, forensic audit, forensic lab that will help us snap this kind of corruption. But this guy, because they are a victim, they are kind of afraid of, because we are losing too much money, 2 billion per day for every day. That is too much, because they are giving us good manifesto that is going to empower people, giving life. But this money we are going to, is going to disappear from somewhere, from the somewhere at our atmosphere. So this is why we are saying this way. Raila Amolo Odinga is an institution himself, because he has been fighting for this kind of injustice in our country. So like corruption, maybe just giving out policy that doesn't deserve. Who doesn't know William Samoei Ruto? Because he's the deputy president, and there's a lot of allegations about him. For example, Aurora and Kimarai Adam. So this guy, to us, is like a monkey who has been told to be, a monkey that has been told to spearhead the reforms in a forest where he's staying, clearance of the forest, which he cannot allow that. Okay. So to me, I really disagree with them. These people are going to fight, corruption. They're a part of it. So they can't. That is, it's like giving a dog a bad name and hanging it. So they can't allow that.
Okay.
So it's better they put it under the shelf.
All right, I'm running out of time, but I'll just like to compare these manifestos and their points and some of the things that they want to look into, and just have your final takes on this particular issue. So on matters education, well, Ruto says he will employ 1,000 teachers and do some changes when it comes to the education sector. Raila says there will be free education from nursery all the way to the university level. How practical is that?
Well, let me comment something about the issue of education and the Kenya Kwanza. I think Kenya Kwanza have got a problem with now they are addressing issues. Because one thing, William Ruto has been part of the government. Now, because it's the time of election, is the time he is mentioning that the education system which was proposed by his government, he has been part of government. We did not hear him early saying that this education system is not practical. Okay. We not see him going to the court or maybe trying to tell the Kenyans about this. Well, why is it now?
Okay, he had said he had a problem with it, but recently he said it was actually okay and they were going to improve on that. Do you have anything to say on matters education?
Yeah, education. I think I have an issue with how Azimio, want to handle the education. You
don't believe they can actually achieve free education for all?
They cannot, because the Azimio candidate, presidential candidate, says that they're going to give free education. On the other hand, the deputy said that we are going to make sure that bursaries are distributed very well and in equity in distributing. So if the education is free, how do you distribute bursaries again?
Somebody might argue making free education will actually take, it's a process, so within that process, then maybe...
Last one on education, yes, last one on education. I think the president is saying, the deputy president is saying that we are going to have, for the first time, the Kenya National Open University, where even those that have not studied, like the Azimio presidential candidate, now can go back.
Well, those are allegations.
They can go back. They can go back to school.
Okay, your take on education as I wind up?
Education is a big problem to us mostly in the country, but I like the Azimio way they are going to, make education easier for everybody, because even these people, even previous week, you heard of this degree thing. So the Azimio policy, they want a certain line of education so that everybody is well served in this education side, because maybe as the Azimio, there is a candidate in Nairobi that his degree is questionable. Okay. So if you streamline the education system, we are good to go, brother.
Okay. Yeah. On matters health, every Kenyan is going to have free NHIF, that is according to William Ruto, and Baba has Baba Care.
Yes.
Takes on a seconds, that is on that particular issue.
Well, I think first, we have a lot of promise on health and what, but we need people who are serious and each team, whether it's Azimio, whether it's Wajakoya, whether it's Azimio or Kenya Kwanza, which will win, they need to be serious and implement what they are saying. If they implement all this, the suggestion they are having on the manifesto, I tell you, this country will move to another level.
Babacare is the best because even it has been tried. It's a universal, healthcare. For example, we have also Obamacare. So Baba is a legend.
NHIF free to every person and Babacare, which one do you feel? I know you're going to say Ruto, but still, just
not exactly, not exactly. But I think it's there are pragmatic steps that the deputy president has said. He has said, for a person of his stature to be paying 500 NHIF, it's actually doesn't make sense. Okay. So he said that for people like him, they're going to be paying 3,000, and then the Mama Mboga is going to pay 300 shillings. So that now you leverage. And in the law of compensation, then you get everybody on board so that you can go to hospital and get treatment and walk home. So that is what I think is practical.
But do you see these people are contradicted because they're saying they're also going to a certain level for the big boys and the small boys. But they're saying the bottom up thing, we're all the same. I don't know, it's not making sense to me.
Okay, I don't have that much time. Let's look at something, another point here is about manufacturing. And Raila says one county, one product, so that we can also create employment. Deputy President Ruto says to get, have other, manufacturing manufacturing, or other companies that will be practicing manufacturing, and also create employment when it comes to that. Take those that have failed and just make them better. On that issue.
Well, let me tell you something. When you look at countries like US, a city like California is very well known in terms of technology. What Azimio and all these manifestos are saying, it is practical to have one county with a certain product and be processed in a better way. For example, in Ukambani, they are known for producing mangoes. They are rotting there during every season. If those counties, they get a way of getting a factory and processing them, and those products are sold, I think it will be something.
Yeah, and you know what Baba want to do? Baba want to open up even other countries, because to this time there is no, I mean, things are not working accordingly. For example, there's too much mix up in our country. For example, we have a fishing industry. I mean, fishing is being done in maybe the 4 counties, Kisumu, Siaya, and Toba Bay, and the fishing processing is in Thika. That is being disordered. So we need to open up this fishing industry, go back there, and also the sugar industry, the company should be there. That's where we want to work it.
Okay.
I think I need to give my brother some information. He said
Just
that
a second,
in Ukambani that mangoes are going to waste. I think if I bring you up to speed, Professor Kifudha Kibwana in Makueni has actually an industry that deals with mangoes. So the things that you're talking about are actually happening, because when you brought the devolution, then you solved most of issues at the county level. So I think we are set with the Ukambani with mango.
I think
mango factory.
It's true. Let me respond on that. It's true.
I don't have time.
Okay, it's true. People that set some factory, but it's not very productive. How many people have benefited? How many people are getting earning? That is a big question. Even if for only one county, not Kitui and Machakos, it's only for Makueni.
Yeah, this guy is right.
Okay. Now the final point here, because I'm totally out of time, and this one I'm going to give you each probably 30 seconds to respond to it. It is the economic, the matters economy. The Kenya Kwanza team wants to pump 50 billion into the economy. The Azimio team also has a plan of reviving the economy, and they also have a social protection plan, which they say it's 6,000 to the less vulnerable, or those very people that are living below the poverty line. Your take?
Well, you have mentioned
50 billion. Where? How do we get that 50 billion? How do we even raise the 6,000 for each family?
I think they are in Kenya Kwanza in a better position to explain where they get the source of that money. But I also believe that the issue of pay and the tax, the government the government which will take power. It needs to take a keen look at the issue of tax. Taxation has been bringing a lot of companies down, and that is the issue which Kenyans are struggling with.
Yes, the Azimio, I mean, manifesto is good tackling those issues you are raising. But the Baba Care, I mean, the Azimio thing is the reason why that one is a bit appealing to the people, because we lose too much money in terms of corruption. So we are going to cage this corruption thing so that we can pump more money for the for the growth of our country.
Okay. Yeah, Kimanzi, you have the last one.
The pride of every person is to be able to feed themselves. Okay. So for Azimio to say that they will actually be giving 200 shillings per day handout to some 2 million households, I mean, that is a fallacy. Everybody wants to feed themselves, and they feel great about it. So why don't you say that instead of giving people that money, and that money has got no return, because you only give people, they are going to spend it. So you cannot move money from manufacturing, and then you bring it so that it can be spent by people without a return. I think it is the priorities of Azimio are upside down. They are out of touch.
But I also think it's important to mention that not everybody will be given that money. It's only for specific people who are vulnerable.
Yeah, it's possible. They were targeting about 2,000 people who are living below the poverty line. That's according to Raila Odinga.
2 million. Yeah, 2 million people.
Yeah, that is. Raila Odinga is saying he has been Prime Minister. I know where he's going to get this money. So they should not be worried a lot.
Okay.
Let them wait.
Thank you so much. I'm really out of time. I would have loved to continue this discussion, but we've run out of time here on the Spotlight. Thank you so much for your time. Kimanzi there, Orongo, and also Mwendwa from Bunge la Mwananchi. I really do appreciate that you get the time for this discussion here and just understand how the political scenario is playing out for us, the people, and also the Mwananchi here in the country. I'd like to take a feedback here. James Kinyo says, what do you mean Wajakoya is not a manifesto? That is according to you, but you're not going to answer that. I don't have the time. Morange Jacob says, implementation doesn't matter with the leader who wins. Current politics manifesto are just like proverbs. We review them in every election period. Nasha Jolie says, Robert Chacha, not that one. Joy Mark says, Agano Party could be the it, but this is Kenya. This according to a story that we read earlier on Agano that was launching their manifesto today. Thank you so much for creating time and watching the bulletin tonight and this discussion here. My name is Brian Amwai. Let's do this again next time. Have yourselves a wonderful night and week.